Well, competitive gaming and esports is quite frankly, it's booming. And for many students, gaming is more than a hobby. It's a passion, and for some, it's even treated as a full-time career. And yet for others, they want to get into it as a career path. But when gaming starts to interfere with school, with sleep, with relationships, it can cross the line into addiction. Today, let's talk about how educators and parents can support students struggling with gaming dependency. Hi, my name is Allick Delancy, and I'm a psychologist working in the field of mental health and education. And today's video, we'll be exploring the signs of esports and competitive gaming addiction, why students are vulnerable, and the practical solutions to help them to find balance, because that is important, finding balance. Well, let's understand what esports and competitive gaming is first of all. Well, esports are really organized, competitive video games that are often streamed online, for example, or it's played in tournaments, and you have quite a number of people who will be involved, either playing, those who are looking on, and sometimes you could have thousands or millions of people who are actually looking at these streamings that are taking place. Now you can think about a student who spends hours and hours and hours playing in these tournaments, and you can see how it could really fall into an addiction, because some of them it's like a full-time job. I mean, they're going to school, but at the same time they're playing so often and for so long in terms of hours that it could be 5, sometimes 8 hours of playing video games, and this could really affect them, not just in one area but in multiple areas of their life. Now, why are students vulnerable? This is a good question to ask. Why are students really vulnerable to this addiction? Well, it could be because of a number of reasons. One of them, it offers rewards. Now, games are designed with streaks, with ranking, with achievements. And what this does is that it triggers the dopamine loop in the brain. So dopamine, we understand, it's a neurotransmitter that is responsible for motivation and for mood regulation. So imagine a person, a student who is playing video games for a long period of time. They develop this motivation to just continue playing and playing and playing, and it feels good, and that's why they continue doing it. But in feeling good and continue doing it, it can be stepping over into addiction, because there's a dysregulation, there's an imbalance in the time that they spend, and how it affects their sleep, how it affects relationship with others, how it affects relationship with parents, and even with their peer groups. So there's where we can recognize the esports and competitive gaming as stepping over into that realm of addiction. Even career aspirations, you have that some students, they dream of becoming a professional gamer or professional streamer, and then it's a career path that they want to get into. Maybe they're aware that other persons are making money from it, so it kind of put them in a vulnerable position, because if they're seeing others are making money from it, then also those who are making money might be influencers who are, they're driving nice cars, they're living in expensive homes and so forth. And a young person, they want that kind of experience or that sort of life that that person may have. Also, too, students are vulnerable as these gaming, esports, and competitive gaming, it offers escape. Now, escape from stress, escape from school pressure. We know that a number of students, they're under quite a bit of pressure in school to perform on various subject matters. Sometimes they may not necessarily be pretty good at certain subjects, and because of the pressure of, okay, you have to perform, you have to do this, you have to study, there's so much projects, and even if they are good at a specific subject, they are encouraged to even be better, the best. And that drive, that external drive, probably from other persons, while Of course, we want our students to do pretty good. We want them to be motivated. We want them to excel. Sometimes the added pressure from society, from maybe parents or probably even from teachers, can be so overwhelming that they can slip into just playing video games for long hours, and this can become an addictive kind of behavior. Also, too, in terms of social connections, online teams and communities, it gives students a sense of belonging. Imagine you're playing with a group and you all have been together for a few days or weeks or sometimes even months. You may not necessarily have met this person or these people before in terms of face to face, but the interaction online, it is a powerful, a profound interaction that satisfies a need of belonging, a part of a group, a part of a team, right? You depend on them, they depend on you, and that sort of relationship that develops can be quite powerful, especially if you're not getting that outside of the video game, or your perception is there's no one else that understands who you are as a student. So just understanding that the addiction can come as a result of rewards systems that they're receiving, social connection, career aspiration, and escape can really help us to understand to a reasonable degree why students are vulnerable. Now, what are some of the signs of gaming addiction in students? And it's important for us to know at least some of the signs. We may not always catch all the signs, but it's really important for us to at least be able to identify a few of the signs. And this will also help, once we're able to identify them, help us to even offer some recommendation. Maybe you're a teacher, to offer some recommendation to a parent or a guardian for their child to get some help, right? So it's important to recognize these signs. So maybe you're a parent and recognizing the sign of addiction when it comes to esport and competitive video games. And it's important that you recognize those signs, so that if there's that imbalance that is developing, or maybe have developed, the student or the child is dependent or addicted to the games, then definitely you will want to get some help for them. So what are some of those signs of gaming addiction seen in students? Well, let's talk about the academics. What happens to the academics? Well, there is definitely, or there can be, a decline in their grades. You can have them skipping class, they not going to class, they may go to school, but they break in class, or they may be in class, but they're zoning out quite a bit. They're focusing more on the game as opposed to focusing on what is going on in the classroom. Or sometimes they may come to school and they did not complete all their homework, so you have some incomplete homework because of spending a great number of time just playing video games as opposed to focusing on their schoolwork. So you can have decline in grades, incomplete work, skipping or breaking of classes, and that definitely will affect their academic experience. Another sign has to do with their emotions. You can find some irritability, especially when you ask them to stop playing the game or to take off the game or to go and sleep. The person, the student, the child, the teenager can get very irritable, very aggressive at times, and even anxious. You can see anxiety developing when playing the game. They may be very anxious, they're very jumpy, especially they might be playing, they're losing, and they're becoming very anxious, and they can't put it down because they have to continue playing to win, to get more points. So you can see some of those behaviors developing in the student. When it comes to physical observations or physical signs, you might see that the student might actually be very tired because they're staying up maybe late at night. So they are exhausted the next day. They are probably complaining about headaches. They're falling asleep in class, or falling asleep. Maybe you dropping them to school, and when you look in the back of the car or the taxi, they're fast asleep, and they just can't keep up. when they are in the classroom, they very daydreamy, or they show that sense of just being exhausted, being really, really tired, having some cognitive issues, not being able to reason, or not being able to respond as quickly when asked a question by the teacher. So you can see some of those signs being developed in the student. Also, too, when it comes to behavioral signs, based on the student being addicted or dependent, heavily dependent on these esport or video games, you can see, and not in all cases, but sometimes you can see, you ask a question and you say, okay, well, what have you done last night? I went and sleep early, miss. Or mom, I was at sleep. I was fast asleep. So they start lying. They start telling untruths when children, in fact, they were up probably until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning just playing games. So they're not telling the truth. You might see them start lying, neglecting responsibilities, household chores undone, being withdrawn as well from peers. So when it's time to go outside and play during recess, or probably go outside and just socialize during the lunchtime after they had their meals, they may just be sitting in class, or they may try to isolate themselves, either because of being tired, or probably they're trying to pull out their device and probably get some gaming done. So that in itself shows a level of addiction, and demonstrates some of the signs that you will see in students who are addicted to gaming. All right, let's now talk about some of the solutions as a parent and as a teacher. You definitely want to be balanced, right? So most games, they are not bad in themselves. They can provide some level of entertainment and some relaxation for the child, for the student. So you don't want to just say, no screen time, no games. Of course, you want to look at the games, make certain that the games that they're playing, it's games that you feel comfortable with as a parent, or even if you're a teacher and you become aware of the type of games that they're playing, you don't want to just speak ill about the games, right? You want to be balanced. But of course, again, if the games are featuring some type of belief or ideas or philosophy that could definitely harm the child emotionally or even physically by they doing something to themselves, you want to, of course, guide them in the right direction. So you want to set some boundaries. That's a solution. As a parent, you can definitely help your child to do. Help them to set some boundaries when it comes to gaming. So if they have homework to do, you want them to do the homework, and then they can go and play some game maybe after. Of course, you want to set some time, help them to set some times. So they probably play for an hour after doing maybe 2 hours of work, depending on the age group of the child, of course. So I'm not saying how much time you set for the child to study and then go and play games, but be reasonable. Probably talk to other parents who may have had some success in having their child be balanced where gaming is concerned. So you want to set those clear boundaries and knowing when to play games and when to do other work, when to sleep, when to do their chores, and so forth. Of course, you want to encourage your student to actually go outside too and play some games once they're able to, once the environment outside is one that maybe there's a basketball court not too far, or probably there is a savanna somewhere. You can probably go along with them and make certain that they, just run around, play a little bit, probably invite their friends over and actually have some physical exercise and breathe some fresh air, get some, physical movements out there. You might want them to even read a book, right? Take a hike, go climb a tree or something of that sort. Go have some discussion with another family member, probably especially maybe somebody that you haven't spoken to in a little while. You can encourage them, let's go and talk to auntie, let's go and talk to uncle, let's find out how their day was. Let's go and talk to cousins. see how they're doing. So have that face-to-face collaboration. So you want to encourage them to do that. Of course, as a parent too, you want to educate your child or children as to how games can be addictive. So you want to help them to realize that, because you're getting points and you're getting levels to go up, that could really feel good. And when you feel that way, you can want to play again and again. So as your mom or as your dad or whoever you are to them, you want to help them to appreciate that because that is so, it could become very addictive. So I want you to set limits, set boundaries, set times that you'll be playing these games. And of course, you want to look at the root cause of why some students are addicted or become addicted to playing video games. And it could be because they want to escape. So you want to make sure that the thing that may be causing them stress, you can treat with it, probably offer a listening ear, or maybe it might be that you have to actually talk to a psychologist or talk to a clinician who might be able to offer some therapy for that child, maybe a psychiatrist, so that the child can get the necessary support that they need if they're experiencing extreme stress. And if you as a parent or even as a teacher, you're not able to treat adequately with the concern the child may have, you may need to even refer them to the guidance officer. And so in conclusion, esports and competitive gaming can be exciting, it can be beneficial, it could be some stress reliever for the child. But when gaming becomes addictive, educators and parents can step in and should step in to set some boundaries, to offer some alternatives, and to have open conversation with the child. It is about balance, not banning the games. When families and when schools work together, students can enjoy gaming while still thriving academically and emotionally. I want to thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and share with an educator or a parent.